Well, y'all, I pulled 3 of the little rutabagas in the garden, and I'm gonna see if we can't cook them up. See if we can get these things scraped up a little bit and peeled. You can certainly use a knife on them. They're just kind of hard, so it's kind of hard to peel them with a knife, but you can do it. Just whichever way you prefer. They're not so hard to cut after you get them peeled. We'll put them in a pot because we're going to cook them in water. Kind of like they were potatoes. I love the smell of a rutabaga. It has a really neat, nutty, earthy smell. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's been looking like rain all day today, but we have not got any rain today. Probably tomorrow. Fell in the sink. There. And I'm just cutting the tops off. I didn't cut them down quite far enough when I brought them in. I guess you can see what I'm doing. Now you can roast these if you want and add a little bit of cinnamon. But I like to do them this way. And wash them off again, because I did wash them when I brought them in, but they need to be washed after I cut them up too. And I'm just going to put them on there to cook them just like you would a boiled potato or something. I had something on the side of my foot. Now, I've got a container over here. I need to get all these little pieces out and the scrapings from the rutabaga, because they'll all go in the compost. I really should bring my little compost bucket in here. I've got an actual compost bucket and I never keep it on the counter because I have a tendency to leave it there too long and I don't get stuff out of it. And so I put it in the shed. If I just put it in a bowl or something, seems like I empty it quicker. And this little bowl is getting kind of full. Now, while I got those going, we're going to come over here and get our greens. Now, I've fried some bacon this morning, so I got my bacon grease in my pot over here. I don't know, you can see my pot, but yeah, I got a pot back there, and I had some bacon grease where I cooked bacon this morning. So my bacon grease is in my pot, and that's the only seasoning I'm going to put to my greens. Now I am going to cut off a lot of this tough stem off of my leaves. See these pretty rutabaga leaves? Do you know you can make a salad, a green salad with those? And this is just the leaves from the one plant that was out there that I pulled. I think it was two of the rutabagas out of, and then I got the other one as well. So that made three of them, three of the biggest rutabagas that were out there. Yeah, these tough stems take a while to cook, so we've cut a lot of the tough stem off. That's all going in my compost. And this is not a lot of rutabaga leaves, but it's all I got right now. So I'll be able to show you how I cook them. You basically do them like you do turnips or collard greens. Or any of that type of thing. And I like to take one leaf at a time and just go over it really well, back and front, and make sure there's no little bugs sticking on there. And then I try to break it up as best I can and throw it right in my pot. And I think I'm going to have to move this back. Move my pot over here. My rutabagas. And then move my big pot back here up to the front burner. And if you wanted to make like a green salad with these, you know, a cooked green salad, you could add turnip leaves, you could add collards, anything like that. I don't know if you've ever eaten a mixed salad, green salad before that you cook. You just put all the different greens in together and just mix them up and cook them together. I'm just going to put the lid on it and I'm going to boil them till they're done. I'm going to boil my turnip, my roots, my rutabaga roots, until they're done. And you might want to add a little bit of salt to your rutabaga root. Just a tiny bit. And then just cook them. Leave them on low to medium heat, you know, just so they'll boil but not boil over. Kind of like a simmer. And I'll bring you back as soon as I think they're tender enough. Well, we're back. I'm going to turn my greens off. I'm going to turn my rutabagas off. First up, whoo, that is hot. Hot, hot, hot. I'm going to take my greens out of the pot. Now, normally I would fix cornbread dumplings in here. And you just basically mix up half cornmeal, half flour, 1 egg, just a little bit of salt, not much, just a pinch. And you can season them with garlic and onion powder if you'd like. But I didn't have enough greens that I cooked to do that, because I don't have enough of the liquid left from my greens to cook them in. So we're not going to be able to do that today. Usually when you do that, you've got about a half a pot full of liquid left in here. But I had such a little bit of greens that I don't have enough liquid in my pot to cook it. So I'm not going to even try to do that. But back home, that's what they did. Anytime they cook greens, especially collards or something like this, they cook dumplings in them. Cornbread dumplings. And I just told you how to make them. Just, you know, maybe a half a cup of flour, half a cup of cornmeal, an egg, just about a half a teaspoon of sugar. You can season them if you like with a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onion powder. Totally up to you. But there, I got my greens cut up a little bit. Now on our rutabagas here, we're just going to drain the water out. Because there's not even enough of the water there to add to the greens water to even think about cooking dumplings, so I'm not going to try. We're going to add a little bit of butter, about a tablespoon or two. I'm going to put in just a little bit of cinnamon. And now most people use maple syrup for this. I don't have maple syrup, but I do have honey. So I'm going to add just a little bit of honey. Not much. But I'm going to add just a little bit of honey. That'll do it. And we're just going to toss them around. That butter will melt in those hot rutabagas. Hope you can see this. I mean, almost like you would do a sweet potato. Or now what you can do is you can mash these basically almost like a white potato to make cream potatoes. You can mash them. And you can add a little bit of sour cream to them. A little bit of butter. Again, a little bit of maple syrup. And just a tad of cinnamon. Or you can leave them plain. You don't have to season them up with anything. It's just up to you, whatever you prefer to do with it. But yeah, usually I would have a cornbread dumpling, and there's not really enough. Let me see. Maybe I could come up with a little bit of chicken broth. Oh, let me see. Get me an egg. Oh, let's see. I should have went ahead and poured that rutabaga liquid in there, and that would have made it taste so good. But I was thinking I didn't have enough. the combination of the rutabaga water plus the greens water plus a little bit of chicken broth that I'm going to put in there and add some water. That should make a good base for it, I think. I can make some little ones, I guess. Maybe. But let me get me some flour. Gotta get me a bowl to mix them in. But instead of draining your rutabaga water out of your cut up rutabaga root, pour it in your pot. Don't do like I did and pour it down the sink. And then think you decide finally you wanted to make the dumplings. Because you need all that in there. Now, I think I've got some cornmeal right here. And I'm not going to mix up a whole lot because I don't want a whole lot here. They'll just, because I can't eat it all. That's probably about a half a cup of cornmeal. I'm going to put about a half a cup of flour. I'm going to put a little bit of salt, and this is sea salt. I like a little pepper in my dumplings. You can omit that if you want, and it's up to you. Mix that up. I am going to put, and you don't have to add the sugar either. I like just about a teaspoonful of sugar in there, not quite a teaspoonful. Now I'm going to mix my flour and my cornmeal up. Remember, we had bacon drippings in there we cooked the greens in. I added some bouillon, chicken bouillon. And if you'd had the liquid from the greens plus the rutabaga root, that rutabaga root would have given it a really good taste. And I ended up pouring mine down the sink, which was a no-no. So don't do that. But I was thinking I was not going to make it, so I poured it down the sink and then decided, well, you stupid idiot, you could make a little bit. So, yeah, you add your rutabaga liquid and your greens liquid right back in the pot. Get it to a boil. And you can add milk or water to this, either one you want. I think I've got half and half, or no. It's a heavy cream. I'm going to put heavy cream in it. I can open it. Because it hasn't been opened yet. That heavy cream is going to give it a good taste. A lot better than the water. I needed a bigger bowl. My flour is jumping out of the bowl here. But I didn't want to make up a whole bunch. But this is enough to show you. And it's probably going to take about a cup of this heavy whipping cream. Heavy cream. And you can add just regular milk. You can add water. You can add buttermilk. In fact, I'm going to put just a little bit of water in there. Kind of loosen it up a little bit. I think I have enough of the cream in there. Once I can get it mixed up. Back when my parents were alive, they had dairy cows. You know, they had milking cows, not so much dairy cows, but they did have a milking cow, or a couple of them. So they always had fresh milk, buttermilk, butter, cream, heavy whipping cream. They had all that stuff right from their cows on the farm. Now we need to let that set there just a minute and let it soak up some of that liquid. I think I may need just a little bit more flour. I overdone it with a little bit of water, I think. I don't want it soupy. But the idea of cooking the dumplings in the greens water, the water that came out of the rutabaga root, and that little bit of chicken bouillon is to season these dumplings really well. And I'm just going to be real gentle and drop each dumpling into the pot. From that spoon. You want your pot boiling so those dumplings will start cooking. And I'm hoping they're going to hold together. I don't want them running all over the pan. But try to keep them in one little pile when you drop them. Don't try to stir them or turn them. Let them cook. And as they're cooking, they're going to start soaking up some of that liquid. I wanted to try to get a couple more in there. I may have made them a little bit too watery. I don't know. But hopefully they'll stay together. You don't want them hard. You don't want them solid. You want them a little bit soupy to drop in there. Gonna see if I can get a couple more in here somehow. Yeah, once they start cooking a little, they'll lift off the bottom somewhat. Until then, they kind of stick to the bottom. And they don't usually look too good. They look like they're fixing to run off all over the place. I'll get you over here and see them maybe. Yeah, once they've cooked a little bit on the bottom, you can kind of loosen them, but you don't want to do that too soon or they'll break apart. And you don't want to turn them yet either. And it helps to keep the lid on it because that helps cook the top of them at the same time. I still got a little bit in my my thing here. If I can get a bowl without dropping everything on my head. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I was right in front of the camera. Kind of like cornbread, wait till it looks like the top is getting kind of dried from cooking before you try to turn them. Otherwise, they're going to break apart. I probably don't even need to use all of that. I made a mess on my counter. But that's what they look like cooking right there. I'd love to get some more of them in there, but I don't think any more is going to fit. I might could get one more. Right there. I think that's about all I'm going to be able to cook in there. But that's a... I dropped a piece of paper towel in there. Just jumped right in there when I tore it off. But that's some good old southern dumplings right there that you cook with your greens. I don't know if I can turn any of them over yet. You have to be gentle or they can fall apart on you or break in half. And you don't want them to break in half. Sometimes I just leave the lid on them and let it steam the top. Kind of like you do chicken and dumplings. That way the steam at the top cooks the top of your dumpling. But also the liquid is going to soak up into that dumpling. And I think our rutabaga root is soaking up all of the honey over here in the butter. Because I don't hardly see anything in the bottom of this pot. It's pretty much soaked it all up. Which is good. That's what we wanted it to do. But these are just like chicken and dumplings. You don't want to stir them. But with this little bit of liquid, I do want to try to turn them if I can. That way well, I may not be able to without breaking them. If they're cooked done enough, you can turn them. That way that other side will get cooked as well. because I can't dip them down under the liquid. I don't have enough liquid in there. But there, I could dump them over. Let them cook for, you know, just a little bit. You don't want to eat raw dough. But yeah, we do this back home with not so much cabbage, but we do it with collards, mustard and turnip greens, rutabagas, all that good stuff. Well, I got my head cut off. I didn't mean to. It's either show you me or show you the pots. One or the other. Don't look like I can get both of them in here to save my life. Unless I move this back a little ways. Yeah, if they're done enough, they'll flip right over for you. And if you had a real deep pot of liquid, you would not even have to turn them over. You could just kind of dunk them down under the liquid. But I didn't have enough in here, so. Yeah, and it was a toss-up. Do I fix cornbread with this? Or do I fix dumplings? And you saw the dumplings won out, so. But see that? They're kind of dried in there. All the liquid, the honey, the butter, just soaked right up on those rutabagas. And like I said, you can leave these in chunks like this, or you can, you know, mash them up like you do potatoes. It's just up to you. Whichever you prefer to do. Turn that down just a tiny bit. Oh, let's see if I can get a spoon. Don't want a slotted spoon. But I'm going to take that one out. Take this one out that's in the middle. And they get kind of soupy, but that's the way they're supposed to do. Get the rest of them out here in this bowl. And some of them do cook down to almost nothing, but you still got a little bit of that soup in there. which is nothing but cornbread drippings, basically. And I'm going to put this over here in the sink and go ahead and fill it with water. So the bottom will get kind of cleaned out from the water. So it doesn't stick so bad, put it that way. But here you go, y'all. And that's hot, so I can't hold it. Move it up this way just a tiny bit. But there you go. There's rutabaga greens, rutabaga root, and you got the dumplings that's cooked in the liquid from the, should have been from the rutabaga where I cooked that, and from the greens. Put it all together in that one pot with a little bit of chicken bouillon or chicken stock, and make you some dumplings, and you got a southern meal right there. Let's try these dumplings. They're hot. Dear Lord, bless this food I'm about to eat, and bless all the YouTubers out there. Amen. Take a bite of my dumpling, y'all. Don't that look good? I think it's too hot to put in my mouth. Mmm. That is good right there. Mmm. So good. Get a piece of this rutabaga root. Y'all take a bite. Mmm. That is good. Mmm. Get some of these greens. Y'all take a bite, mouthful of the greens right there. Mmm. Usually they fry up a couple of pieces of fat back, crispy. You'd be eating that with this. And maybe even fix a pan of biscuit. I never fix biscuit or cornbread if I fix dumplings, because dumplings is my bread. Well, that's the way I look at it. The dumplings is all the bread I want. Mmm. It's hot, y'all, but it's good. Well, I hope that showed you something. Maybe you learned something from this. Just simple country cooking. And you saw, you don't put enough honey in your root, in your pot, to make it taste real sweet. It just has a hint of honey, or a hint of your maple syrup. Just a little bit of your cinnamon, not enough to take over the flavor or anything, because you don't even hardly notice there's cinnamon in there. And just a little bit of salt and butter, and you got it made. If you got brown butter, use brown butter. I don't have brown butter. I've got regular butter or margarine, so that's what I use. So there you go, y'all. There is my rutabaga greens, my rutabaga root, and my dumplings cooked in the liquid. Just a good old southern meal. right out of the garden. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Bye now. Love y'all.